Let me check in with Kevin real quick. I don't have him talking, but I'd like to just show his live shot right now. I can tell you where he is. And he's driving right now. He's down in 54, southwest of Farmer City. I recognize that. Made that drive many times on the way to Springfield. And is heading down to the south and west, likely to catch some of these storms here that are coming out from parts of southwestern Illinois, including that Morgan County storm. So he's got a little ways to go, but I know he's stopped for some rather significant flooding in that area. And I don't know if he's gotten video in yet in the back, but if he has, we can roll that at some point on Latitude. If not, that's totally fine. I haven't seen either way. It does not have that. That's okay. Our priority at this point still remains for the tornado warnings, but we'll watch Kevin and keep an eye on him, and I suspect I'd like to hear from him sometime by 2:30. He's probably listening to us now on the app and keeping an update. So Kevin now driving to the south and west of Farmer City, heading towards the storms in the area. Let's go ahead and bring the graphics full screen here and talk about who's seeing what. A lot of areas not seeing a whole lot of things here. And Effingham, Casey, Toledo, Greenup, Mattoon, Charleston, Lake Shelbyville, Sullivan, Douglas County, Champaign County, Vermilion County. We don't have much going on here right now. There is a tornado watch for some of us, but some of these tornado-warned storms here are lining up as we look off to the west from Springfield, and we'll keep our eyes on them closely. We are seeing that there is some rotation down towards Calhoun County. That warning may be extended into parts of Greene and Jersey counties. That storm now north of Campsville and Calhoun County. The one in our area that we are focused on is going to be the storm now located to the south and southeast of Jacksonville in the area. What I'm doing now is we're going to turn our camera and catch a vantage point here and watch things. And so we're looking off and trying to get my bearings on the Springfield camera as we watch things here. Let's bring the Gibson City camera up real close if we can. And that's a nice shot there. You can see in Gibson some of those low clouds. The issue with today's storms is they look a lot more impressive because the moisture is so high, it does not take much for these storms to rotate and then spin some things down to the ground even closer. So the bar is lower compared to what we normally would look at with these storms here as they're moving on through. And then if we can, I'm going to put the camera from Springfield on max 2. And that's Champaign. Let me pull Springfield real quick here. This camera is looking off to the west in Springfield. There you go. You can see the Capitol, and we're looking to the west towards Jacksonville. The state capitol is there. Of course, the roads you see going to and from the camera straight out are on east-west roads, and that's looking off to the west. I will show you real quick one of those little cells that's trying to go up here. This is north and west of town, a little bit darker there. There's nothing really indicating of a substantial problem in that area, but that will be an issue for us if these storms continue to fire and exhibit some rotation. We may very well see more warnings come and go here. So we will be using our camera network very much in the area and very much for monitoring things closely here. All right, so the latest from the National Weather Service, they continue to watch an area of strong rotation down near Jacksonville. And again, I think Jacksonville proper, south of is primarily south of Interstate 72 here. Now crossing 104 near Pisgah at this point. I'd like to give an all clear to Woodson and Murrayville. Pisgah, let's give you a little more time here. Reese, a little more time. Alexander, next in line here, the Alexander exit on Interstate 72. That's going to be Illinois 123 that takes you north, and that should take you north up towards Ashland. So eventually this storm probably going to head to areas north and west of New Berlin and Loami. Of course, the Sangamon County Fairgrounds are out there. I think it'll stay north of there. It'll likely be on Illinois 125 and near Pleasant Plains and Salisbury, Gardner, up towards Sherman would probably be the next in line in Sangamon County for this storm. And it appears to me that it's picking up just a little bit in pace the region. So we'll watch this here. Again, that area of rotation, what we're looking at, let's go ahead and bring me full screen here, is this supercell thunderstorm, much smaller in appearance, but still has characteristics of that. Right here, here's Pisgah. This is your inflow notch right there. Your rear flank downdraft wraps around here. This is where the tornado would be, very close to this community of Pisgah, moving off to the north and to the east. Orleans, Alexander, areas to the east and north of Pisgah, south of Interstate 72 from Jacksonville, and then north of 72 from Orleans and Alexander up Illinois 123. Those are the areas that we're going to watch here very closely from this storm. and I'll show you. Let's train our eyes right here. Focus your eyes right here. What I'm going to do is when I flip on the velocity, you'll see that those reds and greens should line up right there indeed, and that's where we're seeing that area of rotation very close to the community of Pisgah on Illinois at 104. Pisgah, stay in your shelter for now. Jacksonville proper. If you live north of Interstate 72 in Jacksonville, you are in the clear. Looks like the lake south of town will give me a few more minutes to make sure it clears all of those areas before I call an all clear. But that area of rotation continuing to look impressive enough where this tornado warning continues. I have not heard of any reports of tornadoes or funnels from this storm, but just checking some of our spotters in the area, we do have a couple of spotters watching that storm closely, and some other spotters are in the Springfield area waiting for it to come on by. So likely this storm, being ahead of everything else, being out by itself, is still going to give it plenty of fuel and plenty of instability to cause some problems here. Again, that tornado warning continues until 2:30. But I have a feeling by 2:30 this storm will likely carry into parts of Sangamon County, and we'll see an extension of the warning there. And that may be coming sooner rather than later based on what we're watching. So this is the one storm we have the warning on. I want to pull this map up real quick and get some information. I will remind you that we are streaming on our digital platforms. You can watch us on Facebook, on Twitter. So if you're in these areas where tornado warnings happen, turn your TV volume up all the way as loud as you can. Head to your safe spot. You can hear the TV. If you have digital apps, if you have a cell phone or access to computers, what you can do then is you can use the Facebook or the app and stream our coverage right here like you're seeing on TV. You can stream it there. Some folks are already doing that, but you also head over to the Facebook pages. We're posting this and getting as much information out as we can on this particular storm as it moves to the north and to the east. Again, no immediate reports at this point of funnel clouds from it, but there still is a very strong indication of a circulation with this storm now due near Pisgah, moving off to the north and to the east towards Alexander. Downstream, let's talk about a heads up for who might be next here. So we'll talk about north and western, I should say, Sangamon County. So this would be Illinois 125 between Ashland and Gardner. You go north here, Salisbury, Claysville, New Berlin, probably will be north of there and west of there. I don't know if it'll include Curran. I'm not certain if it will include the city of Springfield, but I tell you what, kind of drawing the line on where it's been, it may be close enough where Springfield will have to watch closely here. Athens, Salisbury, Ashland, we're going to watch those areas as well and see where this new warning, if it comes out, will be for. No indication of it coming yet, but we'll be monitoring things very closely in those areas as this storm continues to show some signs of rotation and potentially a tornado that could form at any time if it has not already done so. Looking downstream here, again, let's go ahead and go back to the warning. There's other storms. Oh, wow, that's an impressive circulation right here in Menard County. What we're looking at is you can see this hook right here over Illinois 29, north of Culver, north of Fancy Prairie. There's a name for you. Hubley. We got some good names here in central Illinois. Greenview, northeastern Menard County. This may become an issue for Logan County, but looking at that same impressive feature does catch my eye just looking at it. I'm going to ask the National Weather Service if they're seeing that. From looking at velocity here, I've got two different ways I can look at it. The rotation not immediately strong with this particular storm as it's near Greenview, near Sweetwater. This is east of Petersburg, north of Athens on Illinois 29 between Athens and Mason City. Of course, the river sits right here. That's the Sangamon River. And on this track, we're going to watch that feature pretty closely. But the look of it, very much important to monitor here for the region. So far, reports have been from Scott County. They have a few reports of funnel cloud, but no touchdown reports. That's good. That's an impressive circulation signature right here based on reflectivity. Maybe not as strong on velocity, but you can see that shape. We're looking for that shape, that almost backwards J shape in these storms. And so that's going to be a storm we have to watch closely here for parts of Menard and Logan counties. And boy, even this storm right here, near Pleasant Plains. No warning now, but we'll watch it as it's starting to exhibit some of those same signs. There's your inflow notch right here on Illinois 123. There's Ashland. There's Pleasant Plains. Here's Tallulah. 123 carries to the north. This is 125 down towards Springfield. Of course, last night, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy and Jack Griffin were in this area watching storms coming in. Now Kevin is he is on his way to the south and to the west. So here we have, is that new video? Okay, we've got some video from Kevin. I'll take that here in a second. I want to just reset real quick, and that's going to be his flooding video that's coming in from other areas. I do want to mention, first off, if you know anyone up in Chicago, there's now a confirmed tornado in the South Chicago metro. This is near Crete, heading into northwest Indiana, so they've had some issues up there. I think we also have a photo from downtown Chicago. They had earlier tornadoes in the area but they just dropped that. Okay, that's fine. We'll get that in a minute. They did drop that tornado warning now. That's Monee, Piotome. This is not our area, but I know a lot of folks in central Illinois have friends and relatives in Chicago. Tell them to tune in to the CBS station up there or WGN. Both of those stations have excellent coverage for tornadoes that are in the Chicago metro right now, and that storm has a confirmed tornado. We have yet to get that with our storms, but I think we're going to at least get a couple of tornadoes out of this before all is said and done. So Kevin is in Farmer City. Let's talk real quick about the flooding, but we'll go back to the tornadoes. Flash flood watch does continue for the area through Sunday morning. There's a lot of river flood warnings and area flood warnings. We have no flash flood warnings. I should say this is a flash flood watch through tomorrow morning, and so that's going to be what we continue to watch with those heavy rain. This is video from near the Farmer City area that Kevin has of flooding, and we can roll that. He took that drone video. Look at all of that water. Areas near Farmer City saw inches of rain. We had some reports of 5, 6, 7 inches of rain in DeWitt County and McLean County last night. Some significant problems. Wow. That looks like the park in Farmer City. Wow. Oh, man. You just feel for the people that are affected by the flooding. Now, this new video, we're seeing it the first time you are. And we know there's people, we got messages from folks in that area who said they've been living in that part of the world for 30-plus years. They've never had water in their basement. Look at that. So those roads covered in water here. That's right off of Highway 54. That's our Sky 3 drone that caught this video earlier. Man, there will be a long cleanup process ahead for this, for areas that are here. And again, that's going to be the area south of Farmer City. He was sitting South Main Street, Royal Road for a while, Greenleaf Road, 2550 East. That's past the Trinity Community Fellowship. St. Joseph's Catholic Cemetery sits down in that area, and that's the park. And that is just some crazy photo here. That's the river that feeds into Lake Clinton there south of Farmer City, just overwhelmed with water. All right, thank you for that photo. Here's a look in Chicago. This is a Chicago photo from downtown. This photo is shared by the National Weather Service, and they've been watching tornadoes and tornado-warned storms move through the Chicago metro. So we've gotten problems all across the state here with the issues. We've got our own problems here in central Illinois, and we've got one tornado warning now, which is what we are monitoring. A number of other storms, though, continuing to watch here. I tell you what, I think at this point, the storm may be accelerating a little bit. It's now past Pisgah. We can give an all clear to Pisgah. Folks along and south of Illinois 104. Let's go ahead and bring the graphics full here. Along and south of 104. This now is sitting in Illinois 123 near Interstate 72 in eastern Morgan County. I expect an extension of the tornado warning to carry on into northwestern Sangamon County based on everything we're seeing. If that does happen, we'll be here and we'll walk you through it, but we're also going to have to watch these storms carefully. Wow, look at this storm here. This is that Menard County storm I told you about earlier. Let's pull in our velocity product and see what we're looking at. We just got a report of a tornado down in the storm in Menard County. That came on in. Oh, yeah, I would believe it. I believe it based on this signature here. Likely a tornado down now near Alexander, and that's going to escalate our situation a little bit more. We've got reports from folks on the ground of a tornado near Alexander. So in the back, if we can watch our social media feeds and make sure that if we see any photos, if you're in that area and you see that and it's safe to do so, let us know. But now it appears that there's a tornado down near Alexander and Orleans. That's going to be Illinois 72. And east of Jacksonville, so likely going to see this warning extended. The circulation quite impressive with it at this point. We'll zoom in. This is Old 36, Old State Road, west of Springfield. There's Illinois 123, Interstate 72. Some really flat real estate out there. Alexander, we've got to have you in your shelter now. Orleans, we've got to have you in your shelter. The storm continues to the north and east, and I fully suspect a new warning will be posted soon for Sangamon County. And when that happens, when that happens, we will drop the warning and put a post on social media. Amelia and Jack are working on that behind the scenes as we drive coverage here. Kevin appears to be passing through Clinton right now, still heading to the south and west. So he's got a little ways to go, but we wanted to make sure some of those earlier storms did not drop and cause any problems. But at this point, I'd like to treat that Morgan County storm as a tornado down based on some of the reports that we've gotten from the National Weather Service from that area. So we'll monitor those social media feeds and see if we can't get a report of it. There are some spotters in the area as well. And I will also be checking a few feeds from this here of the tornado now near Alexander in eastern Morgan County. I fully suspect that the city of Springfield may end up being under that tornado warning, and that's what we have. So, again, now that we have a report of a tornado down, we're going to stay on this coverage here. You know, I get it, some people want programming. Honestly, if it makes you feel good, you can call and complain. It ain't going to change anything. We're going to be here with our viewers because everyone deserves the same level of coverage in our viewing area, and especially with this storm now near Orleans. If the warning is not extended, we'll go back to coverage, to regular programming. But at this point, with the storm over Alexander, with the report of a tornado down, I do expect a new warning to come in the next few minutes here. This warning goes until 2:30, but the storm is on the edge of that polygon and will continue to the north and to the east. It's our job to keep folks safe and to stay informed. We've got viewers in these areas that are watching and continuing to monitor things. So, you know, golfer, no golfer, we're going to be here for tornado warnings through the day, especially given the volatility of the atmosphere across the region. Let's hit a reset here, and we'll wait and see what the National Weather Service decides to do. That storm running out of real estate before another warning into the area may have to come, or they'll let it go, and either or. And that's what we'll do, and that's what we'll continue to monitor. I'm just checking through some of our social media feeds here and looking at power outage reports and seeing if there's anything. I don't have anything major at this point. There were still some residual outages from last night's storms, and there's actually quite a bit of outages from storms down in the St. Louis metro in the area. Okay, that's a report from Chicago of some damage coming out in Cook County. We don't cover that area, but there was a number of power outages there. The power outage count is low at this point in central Illinois, and we hope it stays that way. But with that report of a tornado down near Alexander, there we go. There's the new warning that just came across here, and this is going to include northwestern Sangamon County, areas just to the north and west of Springfield. So we'll be using that Springfield camera closely here. At some point, I'd like to double box and have the Springfield camera in the smaller box and myself in the bigger box, and that way we can look here. The National Weather Service says the tornado located near Alexander, or 12 miles east of Jacksonville, moving to the north and to the east at 35 miles an hour. This includes areas between Pleasant Plains and Gardner on Illinois 125. This includes Salisbury. This does not include New Berlin or Berlin. It does include areas immediately north and west of there. It does not include Curran or Chatham or Sherman at this point. It doesn't even include Auburn or Pawnee, but likely the siren's about to go off in those areas as this tornado-warned storm with a report of a tornado down at some point near Alexander and Orleans. That report came a little earlier, actually, closer to 104. Near the Pisgah area of that tornado. So this storm has a history of having tornadoes. The new warning goes until 2:45 for parts of Sangamon County, and those updates still indicating there's been a couple of different reports of funnels and or tornadoes with this storm. So this storm will continue off to the north and east at 35 miles an hour. It does not immediately include the city of Springfield, but it will include areas north and west of Springfield into the area. If we can, let's take the Springfield camera full. Is that what I have up on the screen there by chance? I just want to look off in the distance on that one, and that's Chicago. We're getting that camera switched over here. I want to look at the Springfield camera because at this point we'll start to get a view from our Springfield area. There we go, camera one. We'll just do Springfield full, max one full, or the camera full, I say. So there we go. We're looking off to the west of the storm, a little far away, and it's such a soupy day that it's going to be hard to see storms until they're much closer into the area. And so that's what we'll continue to watch and monitor things here. Amelia, you've been in here and you've been monitoring things. If you don't mind, I'd like you to talk a little bit about any reports you've seen, anything like that. You've got your mic there, and your mic is the PA6 mic, and that will give me a chance to catch my breath and get some other information posted out. Those weather cameras in the area, talk about what we're seeing and any reports you've seen on social.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are looking at the Springfield camera right now. As Jacob Dickey just mentioned, this storm is a little bit far out, so it's kind of hard to see. Let me try to zoom in a little bit to some of these other cameras. So let's go to Gibson City now. We do have the cloud cover moving pretty quickly across there. I have been monitoring social media.
To the west side.
Haven't seen a whole lot of reports as of yet. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our social media page. Of course, we have the reports of the flooding in Farmer City, which we showed you earlier. Great damage there, lots of water in those areas. Now, luckily, we don't have a whole lot of warnings for the floodings in other areas as of yet. We still have the watches out there, so we'll keep you up to date on that. We'll continue to monitor that. But we did have the report of the tornado that did touch down. That was towards, what did we say, Alexander?
It was down by Pisgah. That report came a little bit late into the feed here.
Yes.
And so we'll continue to watch here. Now what you're seeing on the screen, we're also watching that Gibson City camera. But at this point, that storm down by Morgan County is the most impressive of the day. I will take a look further upstream at some of these other storms. This storm here west of Lincoln near New Holland, we're going to have to watch it closely, starting to get some of those signs of rotation, as well as storms in McLean County here. And before long, we may have multiple tornado warnings, the way things are looking here. That's one of the concerns I have. There's a lot of folks watching. I'm sure there's some unhappy campers in Champaign and Decatur and Mattoon, Charleston. I apologize, but we're giving the same level of respect and coverage to our friends in Sangamon County as we do to you when there's severe weather. We did last night covering folks in the area. We know there's a lot of areas that are having their outdoor warning sirens go off now with this particular storm, especially since it had a report of a tornado near Pisgah. Now, it's near Alexander. Let's stay in your shelter, Alexander, a little while longer. I think in about 5 to 10 minutes, Morgan County will give you an all clear, and this will become a Sangamon County issue. Further downstream, then, this will be close to Sherman and Athens, areas north of Springfield. We do have our photographer, Chris, and he's going to head to the west side of Springfield and see if we can't get a view of it. My thought for him is if he heads to the north and west by Highway 4 towards Gardner and kind of sits there by the airport, eventually he'll be able to whip up Highway 29 to the north past the airport and watch that thing safely go by. We'll keep him safe and keep him informed. Of course, Kevin now working quickly down through DeWitt County, heading towards this storm, which has more and more an impressive signature on radar. Let's go ahead and bring me full screen here real fast, and I'll point out some things towards you. The signs of this storm strengthening, becoming more obvious every scan. This is your inflow notch here. Your rear flank downdraft spins around there. Your tornado would likely be down right in here, just to the north of Interstate 72, to the east of Illinois 123. As it carries to the north and east, then New Berlin sits here. There's Berlin. Downtown Berlin, as small of a downtown as it is there, is not in the warning. But if you live in the north and west side of Berlin, out in some of those areas, a lot of residents in there, this storm means business and is continuing to move off to the north and to the east. And so we'll watch it closely as this carries on in. We do know in the area, folks in Ashland and Pleasant Plains have had their sirens sound. Outdoor warning sirens sound. What I like to do is I like to say when you're dealing with these outdoor warning sirens, the mentality we have is that is the tell-all, say-all, do-all, the way we count on information. What we should do instead of treating those outdoor warning sirens, first off, the keyword outdoor warning sirens, meant to be heard outdoors, but if you hear those, that should be a sign that you should seek out more information, and likely in Ashland and Pleasant Plains, because they have sounded those sirens there, folks are tuning in now and watching and looking for coverage, but it looks like as of this point, Ashland and Pleasant Plains will not be in the direct path of this storm or other storms into the area. And it will also likely stay just to the north and west of Springfield, but very much so, the sirens may be sounding in Springfield. I have not heard at this point whether they have or not. I'm sure we've got some viewers on our digital platforms that can let us know. But the inflow notch to me really sticks out there that this storm is not done yet. and may stay a problem for us beyond Sangamon County into parts of Menard and Logan County. Eventually, it's going to skirt Interstate 55 from Sherman and Williamsville, I think, on its path. Williamsville, north of Springfield, has the big Love's truck stop, the McDonald's, on the west side of the interstate. If you're familiar with that, of course, by Sherman, it has the split off, the old 66 into town, and then Interstate 55 continues on the rickety old drive to the south, where all that construction is going on right now. So that's the storm we're watching. We continue to keep our eyes on other storms here in the area. But we have one tornado warning, and that is including parts of Sangamon County, fairly populated parts of Sangamon County. These storms will continue their slow northeastward trajectory at about 30 to 35 miles an hour. Let me go ahead and, while we're at it here, kind of talk about area-wide. First off, those areas of storms we were watching in Ford, Iroquois, and Livingston County no longer appearing to be a problem. They're out of the area. They're in Kankakee County. And that tornado warning in the Chicago metro with the confirmed tornado near Crete now seems to be moving into Indiana. If you've no folks in Chicago, they can tune to their local stations up there. We let our friends handle that in Kankakee County and points north. We cover southeastern Livingston, Ford, and Iroquois counties with our coverage. Northwestern Livingston County, where the first tornado warning of the day was around 11:45. That went to our friends over in Peoria as they cover that part of the county there. All right, let's go in and talk more about this storm here. The latest radar scan now has it north of Interstate 72. If you live south of Interstate 72 and you live in Morgan County, we'll want you to stay in shelter. Let me rephrase that. South of 72, all clear. West of Illinois 123, all clear. Still a little sliver north of Alexander, north and east there. Give me a few more minutes to clear this into Sangamon County, but pretty quickly, this particular storm will be all clear for that area. Next in line now, areas between Pleasant Plains and Farmingdale, Salisbury, and that is going to include couple of roads. We've got County Road 9C. We've got the small community of Richland in the path. There's 123 carries you north out of Morgan County. It's to the east of there along the county line. This should stay north and west of Berlin, not by much. Of course, New Berlin sits south of the interstate. Berlin sits north of the interstate, and the fairgrounds are down in that area. The Sangamon County Fairgrounds, I believe. Yeah, they are in New Berlin. So many folks familiar with that. This will be a northwestern Sangamon County issue from Bradfordton to the north and west on 125 to Lula, perhaps downstream, where we're going to watch for you from some other storms. I think this storm stays south of you. This mainly seems to be a Farmingdale, Richland, Salisbury, Bradfordton problem, and areas that are along some of the rural roads here in Pleasant Plains Road north of Berlin with this particular storm as it moves off to the north and to the east. The latest radar update continuing to look fairly impressive there with that inflow notch in the storm as it moves now north of 72. I'm going to go ahead and control our Springfield camera on this computer, Amelia, and I'm going to kind of look for some things here. If we can bring the camera full, it should be on either Weathermetrics 1 or Camera 1. That's in Pontiac. Let me switch that over to Springfield real fast. There we go. Springfield's up. I'm going to control it a little bit and start zooming in. It's a very soupy and muggy day here in central Illinois, and many of you have commented about that. You've said, hey, it is muggy and soupy, and it feels raw and nasty, and the wind also has been very strong today. That's going to lead problems for visibility for us here. These storms are sitting low to the ground, and at this point from this angle, it's still far enough away where we may not be able to see much of anything quite yet. Unlike the storms in early May that we used this camera for, and I'm going to have to focus it here to try and help it pan in. So it's going to come in and out and find its focus. You know, we're looking in the general direction of where that storm is. We have one of our photographers that's heading towards Bradfordton. I'd like him to be at Bradfordton where the grain elevators that caught fire a couple of months ago. I'd like him to be there, and then he can backtrack on Illinois 4 and go past the airport north on 29 to give us another view. Just by chance, Lauren, will he be able to talk to us or have live images? What's his plan? We don't know yet? Okay. So just, okay. We do have Kevin. Okay, we have Kevin out there. Let's go ahead and check in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy and the Storm Tracker if we can also, and we'll continue to watch this camera here. There's Kevin now. He continues his trek down Highway 54 towards Sangamon County. Kevin, tell us a little more about what you've seen and where you're heading.
All right, so I have been just kind of getting in position for these storms. There's a lot of different cells that we're kind of watching along that whole line. We're going to have to keep a close eye on some of these little cell mergers that are starting to happen as well along this. But I am actually just going to be coming into Lincoln. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be passing by the National Weather Service office. It's actually going to be coming up here on my, I believe on my right here in just a little bit. And so I'm heading towards that line. That storm, that is tornado warned, that has that hook, is going to continue to move to the north and east and may eventually cross I-55. And I'm going to be targeting kind of up towards the Sherman, Williamsville area. I'm going to get on 55 there and start heading south as soon as I get through Lincoln. And we're going to see these storms. You can see on the picture here, those are the dark skies that are just ahead of me where that line of storms are located. So again, the one storm right now that has that hook on it, the one down there just north of Berlin, there would be a fairly clear path of view into that storm if we can get in position. So we're just going to south on 55, head towards the Bridewell area, head towards Elkhart down to Williamsville as that storm continues to kind of track there to the north and east and try and get in position to be able to see this better. But I'm also just keeping an eye on these other storms. As we get a little bit closer, you're going to be able to pick out a little bit more definition on the clouds, as I'm already starting to notice some of that, because we have these other cells that they're not warned right now, but definitely, as you were talking about, we have low cloud heights today. These storms are sitting fairly low to the ground, and so there's going to be a lot of what we call kind of scud, a lot of what we basically talk about as low-hanging clouds. Now, what we look for in those are going to be rotation within that. Now, you can maybe start to pick out some of the shelf characteristics to our line that's coming in. You can see on our camera in front of us, and then if you look off there maybe to the kind of center lower left area where there is some clouds that are lowering here in a little bit, and I'm just going to stay with you because I just want people to see here in just a second the Doppler radar that we use, and you can barely see it there. It's going to be coming up here in just about a minute or so, is the big white dome. We've talked about it, that it looks like a big golf ball or soccer ball, or depending on how you describe it. But that is the Doppler radar that we use to track these storms here. It's at the Lincoln National Weather Service office, and you're going to see that white dome here ahead. And it's going to be here on my right. That's what's tracking the storms. And then when you see the radar, it literally is that right there. And actually, when we come up here into Lincoln, we're going to get a pretty good little view of this little shelf cloud kind of coming in and some of these low-hanging clouds as well. So we're coming right into Lincoln where that line is coming in. And I got to tell you, there are a few little notches that are trying to develop as well. If you can see on the radar there, just west of Lincoln, there's trying to become a little bit of a hook there. We're going to have to monitor that one closely because that storm there, all of these storms along here are going to be running into a pretty conducive environment for rotation with them. As you mentioned, boy, is it soupy. It is very muggy out here. And here it is. That's that Doppler radar, as we talked about it, sitting on top of the tower there. And that on the right is the National Weather Service in Lincoln that issues the tornado warnings, the severe thunderstorm warnings that you see. So that Doppler radar there is scanning the skies, and that's what you're seeing for us on television when we plot that radar up there. Okay, so we're kind of coming into Lincoln here right now. And again, as I mentioned, you see those little fingers that are kind of coming down there a little bit. So we're going to watch those areas there and just monitor that because, again, it doesn't take long for some of these to kind of spin something up, but it is definitely something that's got my attention here. We're going to watch that, and we're going to watch the other storm that's coming out of Sangamon County that currently has that tornado warning that still has that hook on it. So the good thing is the Weather Service, they've got a great view of this storm as well. I'm sure somebody's peeking out their window and also using the radar as well. So, all right, Jacob, we'll send it back to you here, and I'm going to get in reposition here and just kind of keep checking on these storms, and we'll keep you up to date.
All right, thanks, Kevin, for that. I want to point a couple of things out with this warning. Now, the storm now is due north of New Berlin on Pleasant Plains Road here, and we're going to watch it closely. This is New Berlin. There's Farmingdale. There's Springfield. Here's Sherman. The warning does not include Springfield proper. Bradfordton sits right here. You've got the highway that takes you to Ashland right in here towards Farmingdale. Moving pretty close to there at this point. as it moves off to the north and to the east. Let's go ahead and show our sky cam from Springfield, because I think what we're going to see, I'm going to let Amelia switch that over, actually. Should be in the graphics. Amelia, if you can click the sky cam and pull me back on the chroma key, I'd like to take a look at that here. And perhaps we'll get that to work, maybe. Do we have Max 1 or Max 2 behind me? That'd be Max 2 behind me if we can have that for this. And it is Max 2. There's the sky cam. Perfect. Here we go. So this right here is that lowering we're watching to the west of Springfield near Jacksonville. You notice how soupy it looks. It's a very difficult way to look because this storm is about 15, 20 miles west of town. But we know that there's a base right here. In fact, this feature right there maybe sticks out to me a little bit of a possible funnel cloud. The problem with this camera is once we turn it a little more to the right, we hit a pole that stands in front of our camera. But we're going to watch that very closely here, and I'll leave that full screen. Boy, that's impressive look here from Springfield. Of course, Kevin now in Lincoln of the storm, and as it moves on in that general direction. So again, that's our Skycam view in Springfield right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drive things here from the pod, and I'm going to turn the camera a little bit. We'll leave the camera full screen. See, the problem is right there, we've got this pole that's in the screen. And, okay, so still having so we're just going to lose that shot for a little while, but eventually it's going to turn a little bit more, starting to make a little bit of definition from that storm here, the base of it. But likely there, right behind that pole, is the feature that we're watching and continuing to monitor very closely here from the storm. So we're going to watch this storm closely here. I'm going to bring back the radar and talk more about what we expect and what we're seeing right now with this particular warning in Sangamon County. And that's going to continue at least until 2:45. The storm itself, I feel like it's moving a little quicker here. It's already approaching Illinois 125, south and east of Pleasant Plains. And we're looking at this little feature right here. Our camera sits right there in downtown. If I can come on the screen for me here. Our camera sits right here in downtown Springfield, looking off to the west and northwest. One problem is on the roof of the hotel downtown we're sitting out, there's just a metal pole there for communications, so we kind of miss a vantage point. But we could see that area of lowering right here, and we're going to watch that closely. As it starts to move across 125, getting towards Illinois 97 near Salisbury, we'll get another great view of that here as it gets even closer. Our photographer should be heading out this way on Illinois 125 towards Illinois 97 near Gardner and Bradfordton. Of course, the Springfield Capitol Airport sits here. The warning in effect for those who live north of Springfield Airport on Illinois 29, and it goes right up to Sherman with this particular warning. Likely going to see an extension of this based on all things we continue to monitor with this particular storm. The one storm that has warning is this one right here, though I do anticipate an extension of that. All right, we do have a new photo that's coming in here shortly, and this is from Alexander. We're going to get that in a moment. And when we do, just pull that on. We continue to watch this tornado-warned storm in the Springfield area. The latest update now has it crossing 125 right now, very near the Farmingdale area. And that's going to be what we watch here. Looks like we got the photo in. This is from... That's not it. That's some old pictures. We're working on it. And if you want in the back, the yesterday photos, we can trash those. We'll get new photos today. But we do have a photo from this storm, as well as the view that we continue to look at and monitor. And just checking my camera again while we're behind the scenes here. I'm not in vantage point of it, but we'll get another view here as it moves off to the east and carries closer, sitting very low to the ground, that's for sure, as we watch here this storm that's in Sangamon County. So that's a photo yesterday from Danforth, some damage that I see on the preview screen there. So we will get that photo from Alexander shortly. What I do want to mention is let's talk downstream real fast, and whenever you get the right photo, just shoot a note in my ear. Downstream, we're going to have to start talking about Sherman, Williamsville, Athens, parts of southwestern Logan County, northern Sangamon County, north of Springfield, as this storm gets closer and closer here. Illinois 124, north of Illinois 129 in the Capitol Airport, Athens, Williamsville, up towards Elkhart and Broadwell. This storm heading in that direction. Of course, Kevin's sitting right up here and will continue to move. So this is the photo from earlier. This is from near Alexander. You can see the well-defined wall cloud sitting very close to the ground. When we have storms sitting very close to the ground like this, when we have rotation like that, when there's some spin there, like this storm has had, it doesn't take much to bring it down to the ground. Most of the time in central Illinois, our storms sit a little bit higher, but the soupy air mass really allows for these storms to hug the ground closely and continue to cause some problems. All right, we did get a new tornado warning. I thought it would happen soon. This is for McLean County. This is for now a tornado that is tornado down near Allen. On Route 9 west near Danvers. This is going to be for McLean County, north and west of Bloomington. This does include Bloomington Normal, and it does include Danvers, the Mitsubishi Motorway Parkway sits right here, Interstate 74, Interstate 39, Interstate 55, the north side of Normal and Bloomington under this tornado warning. This also includes Hudson. It's going to include Kappa, Dry Grove, Danvers here, as this area of rotation now very close to Route 9 west of Bloomington, moving off to the north and east. So we'll get that posted on social real quick here. That's a new tornado warning that just came in for McLean County in the area. If you don't mind in control, on the screen, the story wall right, can we switch the images we have so I can see Kevin's shot onto the right side of story wall, position 4? That'd be helpful for me because I can see he's starting to get in some storms. I'd like to keep him close. But this now a very impressive signature. Very close to State Route 122 and State Route 9, south of Danvers. Very impressive signature in that storm in McLean County. So likely we need to treat that as a tornado down and continue to monitor this storm closely for a while. Amelia, if you don't mind, I'd like you to talk a little bit more about both of these warnings. And if you've gotten the post on social yet, if you're working on that, that's fine. We'll let you do that. Say it again.
I'm just getting this posted right.
Okay, she's pushing social, so I'll have you take over for a second so I can get some more content posted. But now a second tornado warning. That's scrolling on the bottom of your screen, and that's going to include McLean County in our area. That will be to the west and north of Bloomington, including Normal. And storm itself is moving to the northeast at 30 miles an hour. 11 miles west of Bloomington, near Danvers, and that will be heading towards the Heartland Community College. You've got the baseball stadium on the north side there, up towards Hudson and Kappa, Dry Grove. North side of Bloomington Normal needs to seek shelter here, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. I do want to drop back, though, for our storm that is down in Farmingdale, very close, Salisbury and Gardner, Green Acres. Eventually, our photog will be out there and be able to look at it, too. So we're going to watch all of these storms. This warning in Sangamon County expires shortly, but we expect an extension of the warning, and they're continuing to watch rotation near Allisbury. Spotters now saying by the Richland Elevator Road, rotation spotted in Sangamon County from this storm, and I believe it the way it would be. Okay, just updating information and getting lots of messages in. Let's see here. Okay, it's just some text in the area. Seeing some reports come in now from the city of Springfield. Apologize, we're getting some information out to the apps and whatnots and kind of covering our base here. This storm now in Sangamon County is going to be crossing Illinois 125 right now south and east of Pleasant Plains by about 3-4 miles. And I'm going to bring the Skycam up here when we get the next frame. By now the storm probably has crossed 125. Pleasant Plains, you're in the clear from this storm. Farmingdale, I need a little more time. Gardner to the north and west there. You can see the river north and west of Springfield. A lot of homes in that area. A lot of people live there and have a nice lifestyle over there. This storm heading your way, eventually towards Green Acres. Not the place to be right now. Salisbury, Illinois 97 to the north and west. There you go, the latest update. Salisbury, this is about 2-3 miles to the south of there. Now this tornado has crossed 125 in Sangamon County, and a new warning will be coming shortly with a report of rotation at Route 97 and Salisbury Road. I'll tell you what. There's Route 97 near Salisbury Road, so that's right in this area where we're seeing this rotation. Now, Salisbury needs to be in their shelter at this point, and we need to treat this as if it's a tornado down based on the rotation amounts that we've seen with the storm. I suspect any minute now a new tornado warning will come. That will be for Athens, Illinois 124 into Sherman, Williamsville. Elkhart sits here. There's the big coal mine out there in Elkhart, Broadwell. Perhaps in that general direction is where this storm will be heading, but now this is one of 2 tornado warnings in central Illinois that we'll have to bounce back and forth for. And we may get some more the way things look on radar now in the area. All right, let's go ahead and bring Kevin just full screen. I want to look at his shot and show people where he's at. He looks like he's on the frontage road along Interstate 55 now, and that's in the SK Exterior Storm Tracker. He is heading off to the south and east there. Look at that low cloud base as he moves to the south and west of Lincoln. And looking at some of those storms here, there's no immediate indications of any tornadoes or severe thunderstorms in Logan County near Lincoln. But there is some heavy rain on Illinois 10 west of Lincoln, on Illinois 121 north of Lincoln, on Illinois 155 north of town. And so we're going to watch those very closely. Of course, he's looking to position himself into the storm in different parts of the area there as we continue to watch his shot. So again, there's Kevin's shot. Let's go ahead and bring the radar back full and talk more about this McLean County storm. Boy, is that impressive to me. This is south of Danvers, near Illinois 9 and 122. Very concerned about the rotation at this point with this storm. As it moves off to the north and east, it'll be heading towards the Mitsubishi plant, or I guess it's the old Mitsubishi plant. It's been a while since I've been over that way. You cross 74 then to west of Bloomington Normal. This will include the north side, much of the city of Normal. If you're watching in Bloomington, you're on the south side of Route 9 in Bloomington proper, east of Interstate 55. You'll be in the clear. Some of those south side Bloomington areas got some heavy rain last night and some serious flooding. This tornadic storm appears that it will be more to the north and west, particularly in Normal. I want to say Bloomington at this point, most of Bloomington's okay. I think this is more of a Normal problem, a Mitsubishi's motorway problem, US 150 Interstate 74 exit problem, and then eventually down towards Hudson and Kappa from this particular storm. A very clear signature here of is, if it's not yet, it's darn close, a tornado in McLean County. Let's go ahead and pull me full screen so I can pull some things out here and point them out. This here is your supercell thunderstorm. The updraft of the storm sits here, and it curves around like that. Your rear flank downdraft is wrapping in here, and this very well may be a tornado down. Understand the radar, of course, every 3 or 4 minutes we get a new image, probably sitting more right about here to the south and east of Danvers by about 3-4 miles as it continues to the north and east towards Interstate 74. I really think Normal. West of Bloomington on Route 9, US 150 west of Bloomington, Interstate 74 in northwestern McLean County. We've got to treat this as a serious situation as we continue to watch it very closely into the area as that warning carries off to the north and to the west. We're going to watch these individual storms too. I know Kevin is looks like he's south. I want to say he's south of Lincoln. I'm just checking he's on his way to Elkhart now. And watching that storm closely and keeping an eye on it for now. I do want to update, perhaps right now, some of the better news that we can share is that the tornado warning has not been extended for Sangamon County or Menard County. That warning did expire a couple of minutes ago. The National Weather Service does say that behind the scenes they're continuing to evaluate this storm. There's a number of storm spotters in that area, some high-profile storm chasers, in fact. Watching that storm closely, too. Still an indication of some weak rotation near Salisbury, but maybe the storm not likely to produce a tornado right now. We'll go ahead and pull our sky cam up, and if we can bring it full screen, I think that may give a little better of a view for folks at home. The visibility, not great from this particular storm. And you know, we're looking off to the north and northwest a little bit. You can see how low the clouds are off in the distance there. If you see anything, it's going to be hard-pressed to see it with this camera based on how muggy it is, how much moisture there is in place, and how the view just really not conducive for storms here. Not a highly visible day like other days may be in central Illinois. Of course, we're playing around with the camera and showing that storm to the east, but that rotation is tucked in there now, looking a little more north, looking a little more ragged as well, I would suggest, based on what we're seeing here from this particular storm. So that may be some good news for folks in Sherman and Williamsville, Elkhart, where Kevin is heading. If Kevin hears me, I'm making sure he's hearing that as well. Doesn't mean the storm is done yet, but it just means at this point the National Weather Service does not see the need to continue with this warning for Sangamon County, but I will let you know if that changes, and I would suggest that folks in Elkhart, Williamsville, Athens, Broadwell, Middletown, even up towards Lincoln, will want to watch very closely here as we're having some focusing problems with the camera. And we're going to watch it closely here as well into the region, that area of rotation, not as obvious as it was before, but still evident nonetheless on radar. Quick check on our tornado watch. It continues for all of those counties in yellow here tonight until 7 p.m. We'll bring the graphics, or myself, here we are. This watch does include a lot of folks, and you've got the notice first on your WCIA 3 weather app. We've got one tornado warning now for McLean County, including the city of Normal and even part of the city of Bloomington. And that's another storm we really are going to have to watch closely here. I'm going to find out where my dad is real quick and get a check-in and see if I could get any information. They were hanging out in McLean County and watching it. And so we're going to see if we can't hear anything from them. Kevin's watching those more southern storms. Mom and Dad, they're watching that storm in McLean County closely, I think, the way it's going. So I'm just passing along some information to them as we contact with our network of sky watchers and storm chasers into the area. This one tornado warning continues for the region in central Illinois. So I'm looking at, we got lots of information. Lots of information here into the region coming in all at once. And we're just deciphering it all, we're looking at it all, but very much watching all of these storms. Right now, the one tornado warning we have, seeing some updates coming out. Still a very strong sign of rotation that is west of Bloomington. And it's going to be south and east of Danvers, heading towards Dry Grove, and moving off to the north and east. This will cross Interstate 74 somewhere near the Mitsubishi Motorways, the Mitsubishi Motorway. Boy, that's a tongue twister there. West of Bloomington Normal here. Heartland Community College sits right there. The baseball park, the Bloomington ball team, I think they're the Corn Jerkers. The name, does that sound right? Anyone know?
I think it does sound right.
It's been a while since I've been to a game there, but if you're in that area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They have great ball games on a nice Friday night. That will be passing more likely just to the north and west of there. North of Interstate 55, it's that new 3-lane that wrapped around. They built that finally and finished construction a few years back. And we'll carry off to the north and east. Hudson sits here. We've also got Kappa out there. Lake Bloomington is over here. There's Towanda. And this one will probably hug along Interstate 55 through the rest of McLean County for a little while longer here as it continues into northern and northeastern McLean County. Again, we're watching this storm with our one tornado warning, but a number of storms still in issue for the region with little areas of rotation. But you can really see right here that hook that wraps around your inflow notch. There's a sign that that's probably picking up pretty well. We do have a camera in Bloomington. I'm going to pull that camera up real quick. And the unfortunate thing about that camera is that we are not able to control it. It is stationary. And Amelia, if you're able to get that camera, I'm seeming to not... there it is. Okay, perfect. We just got that over, so we can pull that up in the camera shot there. This is in downtown Bloomington, and it's looking off to the west over downtown. We don't get a great vantage point, but I think in the distance there, in fact, if you can make sure that I'm on the chroma key for this one, I'd really appreciate that. I'm going to walk over there and point out a few things. Off in the distance there, we may actually squeeze a little bit of a view, and I'm just going to walk over there real quick and then step back. And I do want to check in with Kevin with his shot after this also. This right here is going to be that area of circulation. In fact, Amelia, if you could press the Skycam one on your computer there, that'll turn the Skycam one on. That should be the Bloomington camera full screen there. And so we'll get that up, and that way I can walk into the chroma key for that one. And that's Springfield still. We need to switch it from source 2 also. So there's that. You just click that and click that one there. So that's going to be on the chroma key here. Off in the distance, you're seeing a little bit of structure tucked in between the buildings here. This storm looking off to the west. The updraft of the storm is actually right here. It's very humid. There's not a whole lot we can look at, and we can't move this camera. But right there is going to be that area of rotation west of Bloomington by about 5 to 10 miles as it moves off to the north and east, from left to right. And it may get a little bit closer here into downtown Bloomington. But we've got these buildings that are in the way also. And so that's going to be hard for us to look at as that storm continues in that general direction. So we're going to watch this storm particularly close here, and we'll use this camera as best we can. I will mention my dad and my mom are on the way to that storm. They're in eastern McLean County. They're going to try and catch that storm out by Towanda here into the region. So we still are watching this one storm into the region. I'd like to see if we've got Kevin now. He's in Logan County. Kevin, it has been a busy day so far here in central Illinois, and we've had a number of tornado warnings. You are watching some storms in Logan County and more. Tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing in the storm tracker.
Okay, so I am literally sitting in Elkhart. I am looking to the southwest. That's the view you see, and that is going to be where that once tornado-warned storm was located. These are some really low-hanging clouds that we talked about. So much moisture low to the ground. And so you're seeing here off in the distance that shelf cloud there, and we're looking for wall clouds. We're looking for any rotation with these, but definitely an impressive view here as the storm is going to be passing here eventually over I-55. We are again in Elkhart. We're looking to the south and west at the storm that once had the tornado warning on it, into portions of Sangamon County. And so as you can see here, you're going to have a little bit more definition starting to show up with the with that shelf cloud there, and you just kind of see that kind of coming in there in the kind of lower third of your screen. So again, as I look to the south and west, I'm just trying to see that clear view into where that notch once was located. We're not seeing really much in the way of rotation, but man, the clouds are definitely very low to the ground here, and all along this, and I'm just starting to get a few showers. There's actually a little cell that's just to the south of us here that's coming in between Williamsville and Elkhart. And so, again, between Elkhart and Williams, there's just a little cell, so I'm catching some of those showers. But what you're actually looking at off in the distance is that storm that is over the Athens area, Cantrell, and moving to the north and east. So I, again, am located in extreme southwestern Logan County, and just going to be coming on the northern Sangamon County line as we just kind of watch that cell, because this was the one that was tornado warned for a long period of time here. We'll throw on the windshield wipers there, clear off some of that, so you can kind of see that cloud, kind of very low shelf cloud there. Again, none of that is rotating with this, but you get on the leading edge of this, you can get some pretty strong winds with it, your heavy rainfall, the downdraft part of the storm. And again, all along that area, we just have to watch it, because these have a tendency to kind of spin up quickly and suddenly can get a tornado to drop here. We're in that kind of atmosphere. It is so juicy. It is very, very muggy. I mean, just incredible how much moisture is really out there, which is why we've got some of these very low clouds here off in the distance, as you can see from our camera view located here. There are some spotters out here, keeping an eye on these, and that's the nice thing. We've got eyes on these storms. The other storm we'll just start to take a little bit notice of as well is going to be another one that's going to be down towards the New Berlin area. Once again, there's another little cell down there that's starting to ramp up a little bit. But the one that you're looking at here, again, was the one that was tornado warned earlier. We're just going to have to continue to kind of watch it and see how it develops. But again, now we're starting to get a little bit more obscured from some of the view because of this shower that's kind of passing over us here. But any moment, we're going to start to see those winds pick up. And I haven't seen a ton of lightning from these storms, which sometimes can be an indicator of a stronger storm if you can get that lightning to kind of ramp up. And I'm seeing a little bit less in it than what we had a little bit earlier. The other thing that I want to mention, boy, there's been an absolute ton of rain over the last couple of days here, and I have been navigating my way over roads to the best of my ability to, stay out of water as much as I can. And it's been tough on some of those country roads and whatnot because of how much rain we have seen. We shot some video earlier up in the Farmers City area of a very flooded park, and as you come into the area there, and that's all over, especially McLean County. I'm really worried about up there in McLean County, as they had 7 inches of rain last night, and now they're getting even more. So we've got the storm up there that we continue to monitor. That's coming in there northwest of Bloomington. Still a pretty good little hook there. That's going to be just north and west of normal. And Jacob, I want to let you talk a little bit more about that as I kind of evaluate things and reposition and see what we're going to do next here. See if this storm can do anything. If it starts to do anything a little bit more ominous, I'll let you guys know. And we'll send it back to you for now and talk about that other tornado-warned storm.
All right, thanks, Kevin. We're watching those storms now. The McLean County tornado warning is the one warning we have. And you saw in Kevin's shot, we get a little glimpse of the storm, but the rain coming down so much really reduces the visibility. This is another look that we get to use. We try and use as many viewpoints as possible. This is Radar Scope. It's a great app to have. This is normal. This is Bloomington. Illinois State sits right here. Heartland Community College is right here. Carlock sits right there. Goodfield is over here. There's a good restaurant out in Goodfield. Up here is Kappa. Here's Hudson. The tornado now here in Bloomington likely crossing at the exit near Mitsubishi Motorways and Interstate 74 as it carries to the north and to the east. It'll head towards Hudson. Lake Bloomington sits out here as well in this area, a lot of residential areas. But also catching my eye is this storm right here now to the west of Towanda, north of Bloomington Normal, south and east of Hudson. It has that same curve shape, that backwards J shape, and that may be an indication that we're trying to get another area of circulation to spin up, and that would be heading eventually towards Lexington. Really, both of these storms coming in this direction. Lexington sits here. Towanda is right there. Chenoa sits right here. There's Colfax. You've got Anchor right there. Cooksville is right there. You've got Myrna right here. Bloomington Airport sitting right there. This storm is on the northwest side of Bloomington Normal and will continue to cross Interstate 39 between Kappa and Bloomington Normal, the Interstate 55 exit there. And you've got the 139, I think it is, the little bypass into the north side. Veterans Parkway is right here. That's the big highway with all the shops and the stores, the malls right off of there in this area. This tornado likely to stay just to the north of Interstate 55, just to the north of Heartland Community College, just to the north of the ballpark, and it will cross very near Hudson.